we continue. So this one is talking about the naming rule. So I think for the following page, I just will repeat this one, but just highlight some points. So this one, I think you already know. For first one is based, the core one, number one is called based on the I/O point. So example here we use a DVP 28SB2 as the example, but if you see here two we put in the final. Okay. So first one is 28SB2. This one have 16 input and 12 output, and will followed by the PLC model. So like ES3, SB2, EH3. Okay, and then also another very important for Delta PLC, no matter it's a CPU or a module. As long as you see 00 or 11. 00 means this is for AC. And if you see 11 or 11, that means this one is for DC24. So this is very important to distinguish this PLC or this module is compatible with what kind of power supply. And then would be the output type. This one I think we already mentioned at the very beginning. So like a T, that means NPN, S or P will means PNP. The reason here we don't use P in DVP series because at that time they just our R&D just define S. And ARMIS relay, this is no doubt. And M, I think if you still remember in S300, I already mentioned, for S324M, this one is for the light driver, or we can say differential signal. And here is for the only for ES2 model, we have a so-called RCTC. RC means can open with relay and the transistor. Then we also have so-called RETE. That means ES2 dash RETE means we have the Ethernet with a relay or transistor. So this is the difference. Okay, and here I just want to highlight one model. This two is the spatial model for the EH3 series. So this one, if you still remember, we just mentioned for M is for light drive or differential signal. So this one is also two-channel differential input and output. And you will see this one obviously did not follow the naming rule, because from the naming rule we cannot see any dash L. So this is the most special one. The difference is only if you want to use the so-called slim type or S type left-hand side module on EH PLC. This is the only PLC can support in EH PLC. So that's the reason why we have the dash L. Dash L means support left-hand side module. Okay, and here I think just for the standard I/O module. And as I mentioned, just remember to check this two value is 11 or 00. 00 means AC, 11 means AC. Okay, and for DVP, if you can see, I think this one already mentioned for analog input, AD, analog output, DA, and XM is 4-channel input, 2-channel output. Then we have a temperature sensor, PTTC or NTC. And also have the load cell module. Okay, and this page, I think I also mentioned at the very beginning, for different models, you will see the I/O point will be slightly different. So like ES2, EX2, the maximum I/O points are within 256. And then for EH3 and SV2, these two models basically can support 512. But for race like SS2, SA2, SX2, and SE, this 4 model basically within 480 points. So the quantity is slightly different. But here we just use the 512 to represent all. Then you can see this is the program step. So if we want to like run 30K step, we have only EH3 and SV2. And then you can see this is based on the output type, NP, NP, relay, and differential. Differential here already mentioned, only EH3 we have. And then would be the communication interface. So for most of our Delta DVP PLC, we will have a built-in IS-232. The only exception is for SE, because in SE we changed this IS-232 to Ethernet port. Okay. And here you will see for if you have some application that need up to 3 serial port, then ES2 and EX2 is actually support. And then also for the SA2. And here you can see like EH3, XX2, we use the triangle. That means we can add down like a function card or use some alternative way to achieve a 3 serial port. Okay, so here we have a quick look on the 3 serial port. So this is ES2 or EX2. So you can see this is the common in Delta PLC, DVP PLC always be IS-232 interface. And then you can see here we have the COM2 and COM3 that is based on IS-485. Okay, and this model is for EH2 or EH3 series. So again, if you see this one is for IS-232, and the green one on the top is for IS-485. And if you still remember here, we can show triangle, means we can add on card or use some alternative way to achieve 3 serial ports. So here we can add on the function card to can use either IS-232, 422 or IS-485, as long as we order extra function card installed here. Okay, and then you will see this is for SA2. For the slim type PLC, basically we will have the IS-232, and I already mentioned only only SE series because we changed this one from IS-232 to Ethernet port. So this is the only model. either 12 SE or 26 SE doesn't support IS-232. For rest of DVP PLC have, also the ES3 doesn't have. So for the existing one, you will always see the IS-232. And for slim type PLC, you will find the serial port or COM2 on the bottom side. Okay, so this is based on IS-485. And for 12SA2 and XS2, we will also have the, for SA2 and the SE, we also have the COM3 on the bottom. So this 2 pin, the final 2 pin is represent for the IS-485 plus and minus. Okay, and the last one I want to emphasize here is for the 20XX2. So even you see this one is for the mini USB interface, but we can use this port to achieve IS-232 function. But for the detail, you can refer our user manual. I will not go to detail today. So any question regarding these 2 pages? Yeah, just feel free. Any question you can interject me. Okay, and next will be the ES3. Okay, I think this one already mentioned. For ES3, we also don't have IS-232 because we changed this one to mini USB, just same as other AS series PLC. So here, just want to highlight, you can see on the top is for the Ethernet port, okay? And on the bottom, we still have the 2 serial port. So this exactly same spec as, also one can open port. So this one is actually same spec as AS200 and AS100. Okay, so just this one already mentioned for AS CPU inside for the ES3, but we can share the same module with ES2. Okay, I think this one I keep mention in the first section. Okay, so you can see here just let you know which kind of DVP PLC can support how many modules. So like 12SA2, 20XX2, 12SE, 24 or 28XV2, 32 EH3-L. Only this limited model PLC, we can expand either left-hand side or right-hand side module. So you can see only in this limited PLC, we can expand at total 16 on both sides, okay? But you can see like a standard SS2 or the new model 28 SA2, 26 SE, we can only add on the right side module. And for other series like EH3, ES2, EX2, and the ES3, we can also add on the right side module only. And if you still remember for EC3, we cannot add on any module. And just have a quick comparison for the left-hand side and right-hand side. So here you can see I use the so-called low speed and high speed. For right side extension module is basically for low speed, and left side will be high speed. So we use the analog input module as example. For right side, the analog input module, the sampling or processing time is around 3 milliseconds per channel. But for the left side analog input, around 250 microseconds. That means left-hand side module is almost 10 times faster than right-hand side module. So that's why I put the high speed and low speed. And you can see this one is for the PLC itself. So if we make the extension on the DVP, this one we will call this one K0, the most closest to PLC. Then we will add on the number from 0 to 7. And of course, you can add on the digital input and output module in between. And for left-hand side, we can only add on the spatial module. So basically, like a low-cell module, communication module, or analog module, can add on like this. And for the left-hand side, we'll start from 100 then until 107. So that's the difference for all the DVP series extension module. Not sure, do you have any question? This one is actually very important. Okay, if not, then just move on. This one I will not go too detailed, but just let you know what we have for the input-output. And if you still remember, this is for mix. So you just check the code. M means input, M means output, P means mix, and AD, DA, XA. This is the communication card for serial port 3 extension. So you can see the card would look like this, so we can install on here. So that's the reason, that's how we achieve 3 serial port in each series. Okay, and here is also some, if you want to add on the Ethernet communication on each series. And here is some accessory that if you want to use the data backup and the DVP PCO CO1. This one is actually quite a convenient tool in the past because this one is for those customers who use DVP PLC and they don't want to use the laptop to download program, so they can use the DVP PCO CO1 to download a program to the new PLC without using a laptop. And here is for the EX and the ES PLC I/O module. And again, just remind you to check here. This one is the input, ES output, then for mix, and AD, DA, XA. Then come to the stream type. I think we check the low speed I/O first. So again, M means input, M means output, P means mix, then AD, DA, XA. And here you will see we have X and S2. Basically, the difference just for the resolution and impedance or resistance difference between these two models. So if you want to check the detail, you can check our installation manual. And for the high-speed module that we have a device net, can open Ethernet, Profibus DP, And this is for the SCM module to add on the for 22, for 85, and also for the backnet MSTP. But just remind this, for backnet MSTP only supports slave. So if you want to use master, you just use our HMI. And again, this already mentioned. For the high-speed left-hand side, the module name will be -SL. So this means high speed. Okay, and final would be the low cell module. So I think most of you maybe have some experience, especially maybe not so good experience with our DBP or low cell. So basically, I won't suggest you use the first two. So if you have any new inquiry and you want to use the DBP, please consider the DBP 201, 211, or 202 low cell module. So this is all for the DBP module. Not sure any question? Okay, if not, then we go to how to calculate the PLC power consumption. Basically, I think you can also find this information on our DBP user manual. So this page, what I just want to show you is we can check the current consumption to select the power supply we use is enough or not enough. So this is the purpose why I'll talk about this page. Okay, so you can see if we use relay, it will definitely consume the more current, right? Because it takes more current to drive the relay. So you can see compared with a transistor and relay is almost double. Okay, so this is for the PLC itself power consumption, and then we can base on the which module you use. So we just we just add on all this power consumption together, and then we can check whether the power supply you use is enough. So for example, we use the 28 SP2. So you can see the power consumption is 170 milliamp, and then DVP 16 SP. So you can check the table and find here is for 65 milliamp, and then 0480, so 30, then TC another 30, then DVP EN01. So you can see 60, so that means 60 at 30, 120, then at 65, 185, then plus 170. So that means within 400 milliamp. So if we use 1 ampere power supply, that is enough. So this is the purpose why I talking about this page. Any question? Because I think in the past we don't really have a very clear guideline to tell customer how to select the module. So they just put on the many module together, and maybe the power supply is enough, and this maybe not a correct operation. So sometimes customer will complain about this. So that's why I talk about this. Okay. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes, it's also important. But for AC, I think it will be more easier because for AC, basically, for AC, because we have only E series like EH and EX, but for EH and ES, basically the module, you have to keep on an extra power supply. Yeah, so I mean, compared with the slim type series, it will be more easier because for every module, they will have their own power supply. Software, no. Sorry. Only non-user manual. Okay. Yeah, this one I think we can discuss with BU. We can feedback this kind of information back to our PLC BU. Okay. Thank you. Okay, then come to AX and AX PLC, namely. So I think most of you already know we have the from 100 to 500. But sorry, you can see 100 here because for the latest one, it did not update the catalog. Okay, and I think you already know for AS300, AS PLC is based on IO pointer and X6 for 500 series. Then, okay, so you will see this one is for AX3. So you compare the difference I already mentioned. Because this one they have two Ethernet port, but for AX3 series, we have also one EtherCAT port. So you will see this is the main difference. And 300, 200 already mentioned, so I won't mention again. So here, just let you know that the built-in I/O for all series for AS3 built-in 16 digital input at output. Also same for AS500 series. Then this one is for AS3 32, then both 16, AX3 24 is both 12, then AX3 20 8 input and 12 output, then AS228 16 input and 12 output. Final will be the AX218. So this one is basically 8 and 6. So here you will find that for Delta PLC rule, at least we will have 8 input. I mean, for the input, we'll always follow the, you can say the old traditional way, as I mentioned at the last section, like X0 to X7, we will always have 8, at least 8. But for the output, the number will be different. So you can see like 12, like 6. And come to AS100. This one we already mentioned. I already mentioned we have a 3 series. 32, 48, and 64. So you just separate this one to 16 input, 16 output, 24, and 32. So that's all for AS and AX PLC naming. Not sure, do you have any question? Okay, and by the way, just here, for AX3 series, this one is based on codices. So if you see E, that means for EtherCAT and EL, means point to point. I think this one also talk about in the previous page. Okay, and this one I think you already know, so I won't spend time. Input is M, output is N, then mix is P. Okay, and here would be some difference. So okay, how to say? This one is if you able, I think maybe some of you have the experience of our PLC. So I think this one is follow the same rule. Like if you see the model name with A, that means this module will support both voltage and the current. But if you see B or C, that means this module support only voltage or current. So you can see like this. A means voltage or current, we can switch the mode. But if you you want only voltage input or current input, you can select the module with dash B or dash C. So this is the different. But in DBP PLC, we don't have this option. This is only available in AS and AH PLC. Okay, and here I just want to highlight that for analog input, we can support up to 16-bit, but for analog output, it's only 12-bit. Regarding why here don't use 16-bit, this actually I checked with our R&D leader. He told me for most application on the market is only 12-bit. So that's the reason we don't use 16-bit in the AX analog module. So not sure, any question? Okay, if not, then move on. So this one is for the temperature and the low cell module. So you will see this is the accuracy. So for thermocouple is around plus minus 0.5%. RTD, or we can say the platinum, will be 0.1%. I think this is quite reasonable. Okay, because PT or RTD sensor is normally more expensive. This is based on the property. And then for the low cell, okay, this page just let you know that for AS, if you have, example, you want to control step motor and you already use the built-in pulse output, but you need extra ASICs, so you can add on the pulse module. So we have 02 PU. So you can see this is a differential signal, so can control only 2 ASICs. Okay, but you can see this two module actually looks exactly the same. But why this one can become a 4-channel? Because we change from differential to open collector. So that's the reason why for open collector we can use a 4-channel. Because open collector just you can consider a pulse and direction. Then differential is a plus minus. So that's why the quantity for 04 PU is higher than this one. And then this is also for the high-speed accounts. Again, for our PLC already built in the high-speed counter and the high-speed pulse output. But this just in case if you already use over than 6 sets, then you can add on the pulse module or high-speed counter module. So you can see for this one is can up to 200K. I think this is also the limitation for most the hardware limitation. Okay. And then will be the function card. Function card, I think already talked several times that we have IS-232, 422, 485, then can open, Ethernet IP, Profinet slave, and OPC UA. Okay, and just want to remind, function card only for AS300 CPU. So if you buy AS200 PLC, basically, if you did not order an extra SCM module, so you cannot add on. I mean, even you buy the function card, you no space to install the function card. Okay, so this is the expansion module. So you can see we have a 2 slot. So for this module, you can, serial module, you can install either on the slot number 1 or slot number 2. But for can open, if you want to do some like a can open motion or can open remote I/O, you must install on the slot number 2. And we also have device net and I/O link. Okay, so device net, it can work as either master or slave or remote. And for I/O link, basically this is the master. So example, you have the Keyence Omron or Aaron Bradley I/O link sensor, then you can use AS I/O link module to connect the sensor and get the information back. Okay, that's all for the first part. Then I will go on to the software portion. For software portion, I think just want to talk about, at the moment we have 2 software. First one is ISP Soft and DI Designer. Maybe some of you have no idea what is a DI Designer. So DI Designer is actually one of our DI Studio software. So maybe let's say Siemens or TI Portal, you will be have a more solid concept about what is this. Because as you know, in the past we have so many software for different products. Maybe we just talk about the PLC, we already have around 10 software. So for example, in the past, if we want to configure the IP address of DVP PLC, we can use either DCI Soft or we can use the IE Explorer. But in talking about the programming, we can use the WPL Soft and we can use the ISP Soft. So anyway, we have too many software. So let's also get the many feedback from customer that is too many software will make the customer confused. So that's why for Delta, we our BG invest the R&D resource to develop the DI Studio, but which is similar to Siemens TI Portal. So DI Designer basically will cover PLC, temperature controller, servo drive, and inverter. So that means in the future we can use only DI Designer. Then we can cover the product which I already mentioned. But for the HMI, we have another software called DI Screen, which also a part of DI Studio. Okay, and then we'll talk about connection, how we configure simple device, and new function of ASPLC. So let's have a look of how to create a project in either ISP or DI Designer. So I think this one I already mentioned. If we use the DI Designer, then you can use this software for PLC, servo drive, inverter, and temperature controller. Okay, but unfortunately, this software do not support all the Delta products. So you can see here, we just have AS PLC. So DBP PLC, you must use ISP SOP. Okay, so that's the current limitation for our DI designer. But for DI designer, basically you can collect more information. So for example, we can check the product, we can have the product description, and we can also select the firmware version. Okay, but for this one, we every time we have to connect and establish the connection and check the PLC information. But for this one, we have support more function. Okay, so this one already mentioned, ISP SOP will support all the Delta PLC, but DI designer at the moment we have only AS PLC. So you can see even AH PLC we cannot find here, but I think in the near future they will add on to the DI designer. So not sure, do you have any question? Okay, maybe can show you. So this is the DI Studio. If you try to get the software preset, you have to register member first. Then you can go to the download center. I have to emphasize again that you cannot get the software from Delta Electronics official website. This one is another independent website, so you have to register member first, then you can go to download center. Okay. Besides, if you already start to use our AX series motion controller, you can also find some FAQ here. So like how to use the DI selector, or how to use the config the Ethernet IP on Codesys platform, etc. Okay. So just let you know, you can also find some valuable information from DI Studio website. You can log in, register member on the DI Studio website, and then you can go to download center to check the FAQ for different software, and you can go to download. But if you want to get the DI Studio, first of all, you have to download this one. This one will call a DIA installer. Okay. And this is also a new function for Delta new PLC. So you just enter the IP address and you can log in. Then you can check some basic information and monitor the data. Regarding this portion, I already recorded a video, so if you are interested with this topic, you can check the video. Okay. Okay, so after create a new project, then we have to add on the POU. So you will see the project tree would be slightly different. Because for DI designer, we will have our network configuration. Okay, but in ISP SOP, you will see only like this. Here just support hardware configuration. And you will see some information will be also different. That because, as I mentioned, for DI designer is actually support a different product, so that's why the project tree will look different. So example, if we want to add a new POU on program, then we just click here and click new. But here we will add a program. And this part will be also very important because I think for the early definition of our ISP cyclic, it will be not follow the IEC standard. Okay, so okay, let's say in ISP SOP, normally we'll create a new POU, right? Then we can define the POU name. Then we can select. We have to select the task type. So in ISP SOP, we call this one is the cyclic, but actually in the IEC standard is actually the freewheeling. So if you want to try to convert, you try to use the DI designer, then please remember for the program task type, you have to use the freewheeling. I think if you ever use our DVP MC, then you will know what am I talking about this. Okay, and just let you know for IEC 61131-3 is actually define a file language, but here I put more. So let you know the difference between different series. So you can see for DVP, basically we support only later sequence of function chart, or we can say flow chart. Then the instruction list. This is only the three language we can use in DVP. Okay, and in ASPOC, which will support later diagram, sequence function chart, structure text, CFC, and the C language. Okay, for H will support all these file language, which is defined by IEC 61131-3. Okay. So for AS and H is actually not all the same. Some language is not support in AS, but it will support another two. Okay, then here we give you a comparison between two software. This one is for the ISP SOP. And what I show here is based on, you can see we define the symbol. So this is the identifier. So example like a push button 1, push button 2, and interlock. But we assign with the address. So we can click this one to switch the address mode from symbol to address. And here is for DI designer. Again, we use the same push button 1, interlock, and push button 2, and also assign the same IP address. So you can see basically this is, for the program is same. But just interface will be slightly different. Okay, and this is the software profile of ISP SOP. So you can see this is the project name or program title. Then this portion is for the manual and the toolbar. Then project area. And this is where we define the symbol. And then where we do the programming. And this is the library from Delta or your own. Then will be the message display area. So we can check where is the error or warning of this program. Then we can also check the PLC status is wrong, or how you connect the PLC with which interface. Okay, come to DI Designer, I think similar. This is the project name, and manual and toolbar, simple definition area, programming. The difference is over here. Okay, here is a library, but in DI Designer become toolbox, and this is for the project tree and message, display, and PLC status, online, and go through which interface. Okay, so this is the comparison between these two software. Not 100% same, but I think 90% similar. So I think if you're already familiar with the ISP software, it should be not difficult to switch to DI Designer. Okay, then here is the briefly talk about the ISP software toolbar. So I think this one is quite easy to understand. Run and stop, and then upload, download, project, POU, and the project compiler. Online mode, device monitor, and this is for online edit. Undo, redo, then for the debug tool. This only when you use the structure test, then you can have this function. If you use later, and sorry, our software doesn't support this function. Okay, and here is to find, press, and go to. But in this portion and this portion is not really identical in DI Designer. So we'll talk about this later. And zoom in, zoom out also slightly different. Okay, and this is for address mode. I think we just mentioned for the from identifier switch to address. This page will be DI Designer, so I think this might be more, you might more familiar with this. So like this one is a run, stop, upload, download, project, and the POU compiler. Then online, offline, online edit, then device monitor. For the device monitor table, I think it's quite different. Okay, device monitor. So it's quite different. And you cannot find from the tool. You must go inside the project tree, then find a monitor table. Undo, redo, then this also for the structure text debug tool. And of course, if you remember, DI Designer now only support A series. And this is a find and replace. So again, you cannot find from the software interface. You have to go to edit and click here to find these two. And here is for zoom in, zoom out, also different. Back again. This is zoom in, zoom out, find and press. So some different. Okay, and this one is for enable and disable network and address mode. So this part also slightly different. So you can see this one is for network activate, inactivate, some difference. Okay, here already mentioned for the address mode. Then here's for the network comment or simple comment. Not sure, any question? If not, we continue. Okay, here will be talk about how to select the communication setting. So basically, for our communication setting between your laptop to our PLC family products, then we have to use the so-called COM manager. Command Manager, now we have two versions. The version 1 you can download from Delta of Electronics official website. It will be Command Manager version 1. So it would look like this. But this is the Command Manager version 2 in DI Designer. So you have to get this software from DI Studio. So you can see this is the difference. Okay. Command Manager version 1 looks like this, but version 2 will be much bigger. Okay. But definitely for Command Manager version 2, the function is more powerful for sure. Okay, and come to ISP sub feature. So here will be the tool function. So here you can see we can use this one to change the PLC mode. And of course, for ISP, it support all model. So, but you can just mention again that if your original program is HPLC, and we can convert to only HPLC. If you use the ASPLC original program ASPLC, then you can convert either to AS or DVP ES3. Then DVP ES3 you can convert to AS, but you cannot convert to from ES3 to DVP ES2 or ES2 to ES3. I think this one I already mentioned at the very beginning. Okay, and here will be the program ID setting. So program ID and the PLC ID, I think if you want to know what's the difference, then you can my Google and you can find a video. I will already introduce the difference. And then here you can set the RTC. Why we need to set the RTC? Because for Delta PLC, like a AS series, basically we don't have the battery inside. So every time when you power on, the dates will become year 2000. Then from I mean the time will all start from 0 and Monday. So that's why if you want to synchronize with your PC, then you can use set RTC. And then you can import and export the program or function block. Okay, come to DI Designer. I think already mentioned many times only ASPLC. So you can convert only to ASPLC. Next is program ID and PLC ID. So you will see the interface is different. For ISP, we can do all these things here. But in DI Designer, we have to go different place to find out the function. So in DI Designer, if you want to set the program ID or PLC ID, then you have to go to hardware configuration and find the security setting and set the password here. And next is to real-time clock synchronization. So you have to find go here and find the set RTC. And again, if you want to import or export, then you have to go to editor and find this. So I think this is quite different compared with ISP SOP. Okay, and next is for PLC ID setting and some memory or register editor and format PLC. So we can find all this information from PLC here. But in DI Designer, again, we have to go many different locations. So like a format PLC, then register editor. So it will be all the device like a board device, a timer, counter, or data register, anything you can edit from here. And then will be the PLC information and log. So you can see we just find the device and the error information. So you can see like what is this PLC model, scan time, firmware version, program, and station address, etc. You can find over here. So anyway, the software interface will be slightly different. And here is for the device, for data monitor, especially for the decimal value. So you can see like here. And this one, if you remember, is for zoom in, zoom out. Okay, this page will show the hotkey for both ISP and DI designer. So no matter which software, actually the same meaning. I mean, example, this one is for DVP because X0, right? Then this is for SOH PLC, and if you want to use a rising edge, we just use a P. But the symbol, the display will be slightly different. You will see this is the traditional way in ISP, rising edge, and F means falling edge. But here will become P and N. Okay, positive, negative, and if we want to set or reset, then we just use S and R. Okay. Then here I think will be more easy to understand, like normally open. We sometimes also call A context, so we just use A, and normally close. Or sometimes we will say B point, B contact. So we just use A and B to do this, and then output. Okay. So just show you the difference between ISP and the DI designer, but no matter which software, we use the same hotkey. Falling and the rising edge, we use F and P. Set reset use S and R. Then normally open, normally close use A and B. Okay. Any question? Okay, if not, then we move to next. This page just want to show you that the network activate in activate. So basically, you can see if we move our mouse to here, and you see this one become the deep gray. That means this network is in activate. That means even when the condition is true, I mean when PLC is at the wrong state, then example, we give the push button tool, the condition is fulfilled, but the output will never execute because this one we already inactive the network. So the same scenario in DI designer. Okay, so only for the network active, then when condition is fulfilled, then the output will come out. Otherwise, if you disable or inactivate, the program will never be executed. Any question? I think normally we'll use this one for like troubleshooting. When we encounter some program bug, then we can use this function. Okay, and next will be the POU activate and inactivate. Okay, so let's see the difference. If you see the program activate, this is the normal status will look like this. But if we untick the activate, then you will see the icon, the symbol will become gray, and you also see the disable. So that means when PLC run, this POU will not work. So any output from this POU will never be executed. And again, if you see in the DI designer, the normal status would be the symbol will show blue, but if you disable or untick the activate, then you will become like this. Okay, and here we show you the POU and the function block password. Okay, so basically you can fill 4 to 16 characters. So you can fill in like a number, like some character. Okay. I mean, and again, for the different POU or different function block, you can assign different password. But anyway, you have to take note about your password. If you forgot, then Delta also cannot help. Okay, and this one is how to check the user device for Delta PLC. So you can see, compared with the DVP and AS series, for DVP PLC, we don't have the hardware config. Here means for the general DVP, what we so-called the second generation or first generation. If ES3 is would be, I already mentioned several times, is the same CPU. So for DVP ES3, we will have hardware config, but for standard DVP, no hardware config. So you can see the difference on that. If the device being used, then you will see, it will tell you this device used in which program and which network. But in DVP, we can see only where is this device, which device being used, but we don't know the location. Okay, and then this is the function to check the device user for PLC. So if you see register usage, if you see the X0, .0, X0.1, X0.2, these three devices being used, so the color will become different. For those devices did not use, will remain empty. Okay, I think before lunch, this may be the final section. Okay, for the CAM manager. So I think no matter you use ISP SOP or DI designer, we will use the same software CAM manager to work as a bridge to communicate with Delta PLC. So like DVP. AS and the AH, we all use the CAM manager. So for the CAM manager, basically it support several interface like serial, USB, Ethernet, direct link. Direct link is actually goes through Delta HMI. We will mention about this later. And if you don't really have a Delta PLC, but you want to do some testing, then you can use the simulator function of Delta PLC. Okay, so anyway, you just can consider CAM manager as a bridge of your laptop to the PLC. And for DI designer and ISP SOP, so we can use the main program, and it will have a hardware config function. And In ISP, we will have a so-called EIP builder, CanOpen builder, if you want to use some remote I/O or communication setting. But in DI Designer, this one we will call network configuration. Okay, so this page just shows you the difference of Comm Manager version 1 and version 2. Version 1 you can get from official website. Version 2 you have to download the DIA Studio software. But you can see basically for the interface is all the same. Just for interface will be slightly different. So how to add on in version 2 you click the new driver. And in version 1 you click this add. Then you can select the interface. Okay, then here will be the simulator function. So for simulator, actually it supports several. As you know, we already have several series of PLC. So like a DVP, HS, different series will have a different simulator. But I have to say, I have to emphasize that this simulator function is actually only for the standard procedure or like a built-in position simulation. Example, here you cannot see AS500, right? Because for all Delta motion control PLC, we don't have the simulator to support the motion control. So that's the reason why I talk about the simulator is only for the standard procedure control, or you use the built-in position control. So even for example, like we already talked about the CanOpen motion for maybe AS200 or AS300, right? But you also cannot use the simulator to achieve that because that will use an external device. Okay, so just want to emphasize that for the simulator is only for standard procedure. And like position control, you want to move from point 1 to point 2, you can do this kind of testing only. Not simulator will not support any motion control function. Okay, and if you add on the different simulator, you will find the port number will be different. And remember, the default status of this simulator will be all stop. So if you want to use the simulator function, please, if you use version 1, please select the simulator and click start. And then if you use the version 2, you have to go here, click and switch the status to start. Okay, some further information. This is one simulator for AS and H can support up to 8 projects. But this one definitely will also related with your laptop performance. If your laptop is like a i3 CPU, then if you open up to a project, then your laptop might crash. So this one also somehow related with your laptop performance. Next will be the USB and the serial. So, yes. Yes, sure. Not possible. Yeah, only for itself. Okay. Okay, and this one, anyway, just show you that now for Delta, a lot of PLC or module, we actually have the mini USB port, right? But not all these mini USB port is actually use USB. So example, if you use S or H PLC or SE or even ES3, then this is the real USB. But like if you use AH motion like this module, this one actually already phase out 20 MC. Then like a pulse check module, 10 PM or high speed counter. And for DBP, like a DBP 20XX2. This one is actually based on the serial. Even for the physical outlook is mini USB, but it's actually based on serial. So just remind you some difference. If you try to connect example, if you try to connect a 20XX2, but if you use a USB, you will never find the device because this one is based on serial. Okay, and then would be the Ethernet. So again, the different version comparison. This is for version 1, version 2. So version 2, the function will be more powerful because you can also scan the device which connect with your device. But if you use this one, you just select the device on the network. Okay, so we have two ways to add on. First is you can add the IP manually. Second, you can click search to search automatically. And once you find the device, you will add on here. Okay, come to so-called direct link. Direct link, that means okay, sorry. Direct link is not really we direct link to Delta PLC. Direct link means we go through Delta HMI, then Delta HMI connect with Delta PLC. This one can be AH or DVP, or Delta PLC can support. So connect with based on mobile serial S232 or 485. But if you want to ask me why this one called direct link, to be honest, I don't know. Okay. So direct link, you can see we support two type. The first one is go through USB. So everyone knows that for our HMI, we use Type B, USB Type B cable. And some Ethernet model, we can use the Ethernet cable to connect. So that's why here you can see we have direct link USB and direct link Ethernet. Okay, and this function, I think in other brands sometimes called transparent or yeah, something like that. Okay, so I think many brands also support this function. But I just want to emphasize that if you use the so-called direct link, that you must use a Delta HMI with a PLC. Otherwise, you cannot. You must use the previous three. Either use a mobile serial or use the Ethernet or use USB. So the direct link is go through Delta HMI. And this one is how to check the connection status or PLC status. So basically, once you set up the driver in COM Manager and select the interface, then we can go here, select interface, then check the system information. So you will see, it will show the firmware version, station address, MAC number. And this one is based on the DI designer. So we can click the connect and then go here to check the PLC information. I think we don't have 5 minutes to 12. So here just let you know that COM Manager, you can use a different interface to connect to PLC. I think we don't have time for you to try it because almost none in Philippines and Singapore. So I think maybe in the afternoon portion, after your lunch, then you can do some testing based on this. Or I can show you some basic. Okay, so example, now I want to search the device I connect to through Ethernet. Then I can click here. So once it finds the device, later it will update here, and then you have to click Accept Driver. And from here, you can also find more information. So example, if you use CanOpen and connect some device, you will also scan back. But because now I don't connect anything, so you will see like this. And again, another one I connect with the PLC. I mean another interface I connect with DBP PLC, so you can see it also pump up the DBP model is a SE. Okay. So after that, we can go back to the software. Go to Tool, Communication Setting. And this is the IP address. So we can, as long as you can see the system information, then means we already established the connection. Okay. And if you want to use the simulator function, example, S200. So you have to go here and start. Okay, so you will see now the status is a start, so we can back to the software. So we select S200 simulator, and then we can go here and check the PLC function. So this is the must. No matter which PLC you connect, you must select. You must do the communication setting first. Otherwise, you cannot establish the connection. I think as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, for account manager is basically just a bridge between your laptop and PLC. So that's why you must do this setting. Okay. So I think that's all for the morning section.